earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production!
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
Brought to you by the power of the Journey into Comics Network. This is the Journey into Comics podcast, the show that's 100% dedicated to everything nerd. With your hosts, the Podfather, Nate Phillips, the Podmaster, Brandon Stone, and the Journey into Comics Network stepdad, Tyler McLaughlin.
Time to make the chimichangas.
30 seconds.
Hey,
Excellent!
Finally.
What did you do?
I went for the head. And here we go.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
What on earth is that?
What's up, true believers? Welcome back to another episode of Journey into Comics. Today, it's Journey into Comics 328. Isn't that great? I'm your host, Nate. That was not meant to rhyme, but as we get to the 8s, you guys always know it's kind of a thing. That's my name, Nate, so I'm gonna drop it here. But anyways, folks, I hope you guys are doing fantastic, man, and hopefully the introduction of the show looks good and everything on the video side of this. I'm flying solo today, as it were, and that's okay, man. Brandon was out under the weather, not feeling it. TY has literally been working like a crazy dog, and let me tell you, I too have been working like crazy, but it's been great, man. I'm really enjoying my experience so far working for the dispensary that I work for. It's really, really cool to be in the industry that I'm in and have the opportunity that I have to legally sell cannabis to people. It's so weird to say. I mean, right? It's a 2020 thing, I guess. But anyways, today we are here. We've got a few things to talk about. I will not tell you that the episode's going to be long because I don't think it's going to be. Expect this to probably be a shorter boy. Just Nate riding solo today, like I said. So it's just me, my thoughts, my opinions. And let's get right to it, man. Really the biggest... Yeah, let's just go for it, man. The biggest story really coming out of this week, I mean, obviously there's wrestling news. It's gigantic and massive, and this is not Journey into Wrestling, so I'm not going to steal my own thunder and talk about the tragic news here. Save that for when you guys listen later this week on Journey into Wrestling. You guys will definitely want to tune into that one. It's going to be a very special episode. Anyways, so let's just get down to it. We had Christmas just happen, and we learned a few months ago or a month or so ago that we were getting Wonder Woman 1984 released for free on HBO Max for the first 30 days. If you were a Max subscriber, and they're also releasing it in theaters. So, last evening, which is Saturday as you're watching this on Sunday, Facebook Livers or YouTubers, and then Monday, if you're listening to this was a couple days ago on Saturday. Anyways, I digress. V and I decided we were going to watch Wonder Woman 1984. We put it on. It was really, really, really great, but I was very exhausted from my day, and about 2/3 of the way through, I fell asleep. So today I remedied that, and as soon as I got off work, I immediately watched the rest of Wonder Woman, and am able to now give a more, look at this, train of our existence early in the show. If you're playing the drinking game, you know it's time to take a drink, because the train of our existence is interrupted whether or not you actually heard it. I can hear it. It's in my head. It's blaring. It's ridiculous. Wouldn't it be funny if that was not real, if there was no train and there was no tracks anywhere near me, but I kept saying that. People are like, I never hear the train. And then somebody's like, yeah, it's because he doesn't live by tracks. No, I really live by tracks. There really is a train. It's the fucking worst. Anyways, so we found out we were getting Wonder Woman 1984, as you see there on the screen, on HBO Max and in theaters. And let me tell you something. We watched it. V and I watched it. And like I said, I fell asleep. Got up today, went to work, came home, flew through it, finished the movie, and I have thoughts. I have thoughts, and then I have counter thoughts. And this is one of those interesting situations where Brandon has predicted something to happen without even knowing he predicted it. And it's kind of the Star Wars Last Jedi syndrome all over again, where before I'd even seen the movie, I kind of had a negative connotation because I had seen online reviews of other people saying things. And they weren't spoiling the movie, but they were saying enough to make me be like, fuck, man, do I want to invest the 2 hours and change to watch this flick? And ultimately, I'm really glad that I did because the story is really fun. It's really creative. Granted, it doesn't really do anything for the bigger picture. I think this is more of a character building movie for Diana, and it needed to happen because now we feel this more personal pull. We've seen her really struggle with and deal with the I don't even know what the word is, but the grief of the great loss of someone she really truly loved in a way that she had never experienced before in Steve Trevor. So we are going to get into some spoilers. I'm going to give like more of a general like threaded synopsis of the movie, kind of the things that happen and whatnot. So don't feel like, you have to stick around for this part. I'm going to be talking about other stuff later, so if you haven't watched Wonder Woman yet, go fast forward. And there was a pepper in my mouth. Ugh, gross. But just go and fucking fast forward the episode and listen. You'll know if I'm still talking about Wonder Woman because I'll be saying the words Wonder Woman and her and discussing Cheetah and all kind. Anyways, I digress. Get the fuck out of here if you haven't watched that movie yet. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a 3, 2, 1, and here we go. It's spoiler time, folks. I wish I had a little thing that popped up. Spoiler time. Instead, I've just got this right now. Wonder Woman 1984's logo. Anyways. So, the movie kicks off. We get this like really cool opening scene. They did actually put this out on HBO Max before the movie came out. It was like kind of a little teaser, and it's young Diana going for this, essentially winning this marathon type race against other Amazonians, and the way fate has it, she does not win because even though she should have won, technicalities, I guess I'll say. So that happens, and you're like, okay, that's cool, interesting, and you learn about Asteria in that moment and kind of the backstory there. And then you get in the forward times, and we're in the modern era, and there's like cars racing, and it's about to hit this person. Pow! All of a sudden, the car misses the person and spins out, but no one gets hurt. And it's like, oh, there's Wonder Woman, and then there's other shit going on, and she's interfering and saving the day, and there's like a heist essentially at a jewelry store that has an underground illegal thing being ran through the back door. So, she stops the robbers, who are really clever. They're like, we won't say anything if you don't. And they're like, fuck, well, that we run this illegal operation, so I guess we've got to let you in and rob us. And it's okay. So anyways, that's like all the little tiny stuff. The main part of the story is that you got this lady Barbara who's played by Kristen Wiig, and she's a cryptozoologist and an anthropologist and ontologist and all these ologists. She's all these ologists. And maybe it's ologists. I don't know. That doesn't work. Anyways, she's studying this crate of items that has been recovered from the actual robbery, these really rare items. And she's supposed to figure out if they're real or fake or whatever. So there's this one specific item called the Dreamstone, and Diana also works at this museum place that Barbara works, so they're kind of coworkers, and they become buddy-buddy, and there's like this like buddy cop like friendship going on and real admiration. And Kristen Wiig plays this really nerdy like recluse, secluded character who gets overlooked by everybody, even when she shouldn't, because she's very good at what she does. And essentially they come upon the Dreamstone, and the one guy grabs the Dreamstone. He jokes. He says, "I need a coffee." And boom, this guy's like, "Hey, does anybody want this extra coffee?" Ernest said he doesn't want it. And the dude's like, "Holy shit, I got my free coffee. That's crazy." Well, people start asking for things from the Dreamstone, and Barbara has a wish. And she actually wishes to be more like Diana, which is a interesting wish when you don't really know Diana's backstory, because she's just being a person at this moment. She's not in, her Wonder Woman outfit or anything like that. So then you had, the moment where Gal Gadot's Diana has her own wish, and she wishes for Steve Trevor to come back. And of course, the science of that, you're thinking like, he died in the teens. This is the 80s, 70 years of decomposition. Like, I'm not thinking that's going to be such a great time. And let me tell you, the way they got around it was actually very clever, and I thought it was just a really, like, okay, sure, like, it's a comic book movie, so you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. So she makes this wish, and his spirit, the embodiment, the spirit of Steve Trevor, finds another dude, a different dude, a not Chris Pine looking dude, and takes over his body, fucking like Casper style or some shit. And essentially she, through some motions and recreations of the first movie, believes that it's him and can only see Steve Trevor. She can't see the embodiment, the guy he is inside of. So it's this really interesting thing where you have moments with him, and that's really cool. But then you have the most interesting character of all, which is Maxwell Lord. But anyways, Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal, who plays Mandalorian, was amazing, man. Such a great villain in this movie. Did such an amazing job of just bringing the worst and bringing out the absolute darkness in all people. And the way that they played this character off was just so brilliant. The wish that he wishes was so brilliant. Like the whole thing was just so good. So Maxwell Lord kind of starts to like fall for Barbara, and of course the Dreamstone is in her possession, so eventually he gets it, and when he gets it, he says, "I wish to be the Dreamstone." And essentially he takes over the power of the wish and can like speak and has like a conscience. But one thing you don't know throughout the majority of the movie is that for every wish there's consequences. And I think that was really clever and really beautifully done. Is like sometimes you can, I think Metallica says it in King Nothing, be careful what you wish, you just might get it. Careful what you wish, you may regret it. Because sometimes you can get everything in the world that you want, but the fallout after can be bad, or the ramifications surrounding it. There's all kinds of possibilities. So the Dreamstone having this like trickster god that creates it, that essentially the stone takes from that person some way, gets really tricky, because you have all these, like, Maxwell Lord's smart. He goes to all the leaders and all the powerful people and wishes for them, or gets them to wish for things he knows that they want to control, then gain their own power. And there's just like this city that, the guy says he wants his family's dynasty to be fully rebuilt, and like the Beijing dynasty comes back, and it like fucking 6-foot wall around this whole thing and cuts off part of like the most poverty stricken areas. It was really cool. And like the whole thing is great. And then of course Diana's there, and she's got some cool battle moments, and I love the action. The way they do the action scenes are nice. I don't know that I'm a fan of the flying parts and some of that stuff, but I digress. There was a really cool scene where, yes, we get the invisible jet, technically. Diana's talking about how she started to learn how to use, I think this is where we learn about Asteria some more, her power to turn things invisible, and she eventually turns this jet invisible, and then there's some really cool moments, and they're like flying, and there's the fireworks because it's the 4th of July, and it's like kind of this beautiful thing. It's really interesting. You released a 4th of July movie during fucking Christmas, and I know it got released late and everything like that, but like, man, how cool would it have been if that would actually been a timed thing and been the summer feel, and we were all like warm and shit and not freezing our nut satchels off because it's 4 below, god damn it, outside. So, we get to the part in the movie where, things kind of start to shift gears. Maxwell Lord is exceeding his power because the stone's starting to take from him because he's using the wishes of other people to get what he wants, but he's also deteriorating himself. It's very complex. And, also Barbara is starting to evolve. She's starting to get more attractive looking and doing herself up differently, and then getting to the point where she's really going all out and looks totally just bombastic, knockout, hot, chick type thing going on, and real confidence boost 3000, and then starts to be kind of evil. And then, there's a really interesting double dichotomy scene where, like, early in the movie, like Barbara, when she's innocent and kind of like nerdy, is walking, and this guy tries to like sexually assault her, and she's like, ah, and fucking Wonder Woman saves the day and like beats dude down, gets him away. But then, like, later, she's walking Barbara as like, she's like confident and like on the verge of being Cheetah, and the dude is there, and he says something to her, and she remembers, and she just starts fucking this dude up. I mean, kicking the hell out of him. And then the homeless guy that she had helped earlier in the movie is like, Caesar, and is like, oh, hey, yo, Barbara, what are you doing? You can't be kicking this dude. Come on, Barbara. God, no, what are you doing? Like, don't be so evil. And she's just like, mind your business. And she takes off. So we're, building to the climax, and, there's kind of like one sprinkled moment that's really important to mention now because it really hinges on the whole movie, is that Maxwell Lord does have a son he's splitting custody with. He's trying to like show his son that he's this powerful leader, but obviously he is a scam. And that's kind of important to note, is that everything that predicates in this movie with him is he's lying to get to where he seems like he's somebody, but he's really never fulfilled those positions. And then the wishes are turning, like he's essentially doing this. He's saying like, oh, leader of Iran, what do you want? Oh, you want nuclear weapons. Wish for them. Oh, you wished for them? Well, in exchange, I am going to get your entire fucking security team, or I'm going to take all of the oil that you have, or I am going, whatever. And he's gaining wealth and power and stuff himself, but it's also deteriorating him. And it's really interesting because Steve Trevor kind of makes the correlation to Diana. Hey, I'm your problem. Because one thing that I did also forget to mention when they were in the really sick scene that was actually in Egypt, is that Diana goes to save these kids, and as she's swinging with them, she loses the grip of the lasso of truth and falls and rolls with these kids. And like, really, technically, she probably would have fucked them up had they rolled like that for real. She would have bounced their head at least 3 or 4 times off the concrete like a basketball. It was awful. But anyways, so yeah, that kind of thing happens. And then so she's starting to lose her powers, and Steve says, I'm the reason. You wished for me, and I realized that, and I'm already dead, and I realized that too. Obviously, I'm the spirit or whatever, kind of like Ghost with Patrick Swayze. And he's like, listen, I'm the problem, but I don't have to be. So there's like a real sacrificial moment with him later on, and she like lets him go, and it's really beautiful and sad, and the score is really well done. I will say there was some online haters that said like their biggest complaint was the music in the movie. I loved the orchestral score of this movie. It definitely made it more like a serious type film. But I do also agree that sprinkling some actual 80s music in this movie would have really, really, really changed the tone and really made it even better than it was. But that's me jumping a little bit further ahead. So we get to the part where, we're coming to the climax, and Maxwell Lord has gained power with the United States government to this satellite where he's going to connect with everybody, and he's going to essentially use all these other people's wishes to refuel and replenish himself and keep himself alive. And all these people are wishing for like terrible shit, and badness has happened, and like people are like wishing to be kings and for weapons, and dude wishes that this lady dies, so she like has a fucking heart attack, and like everything is going wrong. And as this is happening, Diana is running into the battle, and she like renounces her wish. So Steve Trevor officially cut off. She's gone from him, and she's like, "Oh, that's the key. If I can get other people to renounce their wish, I got this figured out." So, she battles a bunch of military guards. She battles Cheetah, who is evolved again because Maxwell Lord gets Barbara, and essentially she just says, "I want to be something unique, one of one, nothing like anything has ever been before, and she becomes this like hybrid cheetah human person superpowered thing that fights Diana, and it's like this really pretty cool fight scene. But I will say she loses pretty weak, as she does just get electrocuted in some water and doesn't kill her, it just fucks her up enough to where Diana can throw her down and out, and she's knocked unconscious for a time, and then Diana's like, I'm going on to bigger business, I gotta fucking deal with this Maxwell Lord motherfucker. And then so she's like, oh, yeah. And then she gets there, and this big cone of fucking technology is holding Maxwell Lord, and he's broadcasting to everybody to continue to make your wishes, and all your wishes will come true. And people are noticing that the shit they're saying is actually coming true. So more and more people are asking for more and more weirder and weirder shit. And of course, sometimes things are overlapping, and you're like on the verge of nuclear war. And all of a sudden, while he's in there, Diana busts in on him, hits him with the lasso of truth, and reveals to him his son, Alistair. And then like that breaks him. And breaks him long enough for her to really get the lasso good on him, and to tell everybody like the truth of like, I asked for my wish and I got it, and my one true love, like, yeah, I had to let him go again a second time. It was killer. It broke me. And if I can do it, you guys can do it, but we have to renounce our wishes, or the world as we know it is literally going to end, because we're all going to be exploded, and it's not going to be beautiful. It's going to be a very bad time. And so things start to reverse, and then she's pleading to Maxwell Lord, listen, you have to reverse your wish, because if you stop being the Dreamstone can actually become an item that is no longer a person with a conscience, and we can get it into the hands of someone who, can keep it safe. And he does, because of his kid, and it's really this like fucking huge moment and shit. And then his kid like says like, oh, I wished for you to come here, and it's like this like, oh man. And it's kind of like liar liar. He's like, you wishing it didn't. It's not what brought me here. I came here because I wanted to be with you, And it was really beautiful and powerful. And you notice that Barbara turns back to normal, and everybody's like asking for their wishes and stuff. And oh, happily ever after, ta-da! The movie is great. And then you get this really cool after credit scene where there's like you're walking in this random place, and there's this thing that goes to collapse, but this lady catches it, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you turn, and you're like, oh my god, no fucking way. And the lady says that she's Hysteria, and you learn that it's actually Linda Carter, who played Wonder Woman in the 70s, and it was like a humongous, incredibly amazing moment. The movie was really nicely done. It definitely choked me up a few times. It gave me the feels. It was really, really well shot. I think the music is really the one real big ding I would give on it, is that musically the score was beautiful, but it could have had some sprinkles of more, hey, we're in the 80s. There was kind of very little 80s aside from fashion and stuff, but it was still really nice. It was really... Maybe it was a little bit more of a quote-unquote chick flick. That's like a maybe offensive term. I'm not trying to be like that. It's just like the best way to categorize it is a movie that I think a majority of ladies will enjoy, and I think that men who have confident sensibilities about themselves and understanding what this movie is trying to portray will enjoy. But I think that there is going to be a large community of the fucking macho meathead, dumb fucking numbskulls that say this movie is trash and it's awful and it has no substance, no stake, no spirit. I don't think so. I think this movie has a lot of spirit. I think it has beautiful taste. Like I said, I think it's Diana's journey of like self-fulfillment. She's like realizing, okay, Steve was my one true love, the thing I love more than anything, and now I have to go away from that and just do my own and be my own and be okay with that. And so this really powerful. I mean, man, it's impactful as shit. So I really did enjoy the movie. If I'm gonna do some kind of a rating, I think that it really deserves a 4, because it was a good story. It did draw me in. It was memorable enough that I can tell you guys like a gist of the synopsis without being convoluted and having to try to like break down each thing and remember it as I go on the fly. Like I kind of knew how the movie flowed, which was really nice. It was really good. And it was really interesting too to feel the different sense of like, hey, This is a brand new movie that just came out, and I'm watching it at home. It was kind of weird, though, for me, though, because I kind of got the feeling of, like, when I watched Doctor Strange, I didn't get to see that in theaters. So not seeing that in theaters and watching it for the first time streaming it was interesting. And I got the kind of the same feels here where it was like, I'm watching something for the first time that's awesome. And then I'm realizing, like, man, so many people have access to this right now. This is great. Like, the fact that there's this much opportunity to be, viewed by so many people is great. And it seemingly is doing great numbers. Disney released a movie, did the same thing in the theaters and also on Disney+. Soul, I have not watched it yet. A lot of people have said it's great. Obviously doesn't really have a whole lot to do with what we talk about here on the show. But I digress. Listen, I loved Wonder Woman 1984. I do encourage you, if you have an opportunity to see it, in your home with your HBO Max account, please do. If you can go somewhere safely, socially distanced, with mask on at all times, don't be a stupid shit and sit there the whole time and try to smash popcorn just to be like, oh, haha, I don't have to wear my mask. Like, be conscious, man. You're going to be sitting in the spot for 2 hours with other folks you may or may not know, and who knows what shit you got on you that you may or may not know. Anyways, let's move on. We're going to talk about a couple other things here while we are in it. One thing I want to talk about with Wonder Woman is actually its Rotten Tomato score. It actually debuted certified fresh. Certified fresh. And then it kind of got tanked down to just a still fresh score of 66%. So it did pretty good. Just behind Wonder Woman and Shazam. And it's the only movie to be certified to enter, the only DCU entry to be fresh without the certified fresh distinction that is awarded only titles with a consistent tomato score of 75. I don't know what the fuck that even means. That's just a part of the thing they're trying to talk about. And here's the point. Here's the point I'm trying to make is, and I said it earlier, there are many folks who are saying this movie's trash. It doesn't have any substance. It's not very good. The villain is weak. The story is bland. Like, listen, how many times, no offense, how many times in the zeitgeist of American history or in culture as a whole have we talked about Wonder Woman's villains on the regular? We don't. And there's a reason for that. And it's not that they're bad. It's just that they aren't the cream of the crop, creme de la creme. Sometimes you're fighting lesser B, C, D side villains. And this is just a real poignant moment where sometimes, even if you have a great actress and a great story, you're not going to draw everybody in. And I thought Kristen Wiig did a great job. I thought her evolution as a villain was amazing. I thought her redemption at the end was well done. I think that Diana's building blocks, and the really cool thing about this is you got to think building blocks now. This movie takes place before she shows up in Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, right? So that means that means like 20 or so years later, 25 years later, or whatever it is, Diana is still like this just very attractive, well put together woman who has these very poignant goals she's trying to pick off. But this time she's super hyper focused. So we're getting that fill in. Now Wonder Woman 3 might happen. There's some rumors it might happen. I don't know if it'll happen, but it might happen. And if it does, they say it's most likely going to be set in the modern time, which could mean it takes place after Justice League, could take place during Justice League somehow. I don't know, maybe. But I digress. The tomato score is really interesting. We talk about that a lot. Like I said earlier, Brandon kind of unintentionally said that other movies were going to suffer from that a lot, where some people love it, other people hate it, and then I think that the people that hate it say so much that it affects people who want to like it. And then they don't even get a chance to like something they might have liked because they come in with this negative view. Vulture said it was an empty spectacle. I don't know if that's true. The Atlantic says it was refreshingly silly and an airy adventure that marks a charming end to a tiring year of cinema. That's cool. Those are nice reviews. Some of the bad reviews are just, like I said, empty spectacle, and makes for showing the dire state of Hollywood filmmaking as a whole. Like, That's not true. I thought Wonder Woman was well done. Like, stop trying to dig your heels in and get the fucking headline to hype people up. You know, yeah, you guys have costed it certified fresh status, but I think there's still a lot of people that really enjoyed the movie, and I'm one of those people. So, fucking haters gonna hate, bro. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm actually shouting out something because I don't know anything about it, but the poster looked really dope, and I figure this is a good way to shine some light on, you know, a project that maybe needs some light shined on it. We do like to help Kickstarters and other people who are trying to crowdfund their project. So let's talk about it. Bat in the Sun, they are the creators of the fan favorite mashup videos like Superpower Beatdown and online series Ninjak vs. the Valiant series, are prepping for another Batman fan film with Batman Dying is Easy. Ahead of their release of the film, which has previously raised over $57,000 on Indiegogo, an official poster for the fan film has been released online, and Dying is Easy will see actor Kevin Porter return to the part of Batman, having played the role for Bat in the Sun production since 2005, going up against Aaron Schoenke, who will also be playing the part of the Joker. Their official description of the fan film on their Indiegogo campaign, they describe the film as the following. We want to create a short film featuring the Dark Knight and the Clown Prince, locked in a battle of words that gives us an in-depth look at their complex characters. This is something we have yet to see in live action. We want to give fans something they've always craved with these characters, a psychological, dark detective story with an almost horror film feel. This film is created by fans for the fans. This film will feature all original costumes, sets, and musical score. And, you know, the poster's pretty basic. It's obviously a Batman poster, so he's on the front. He's kind of angled. He's pointing, you know, angly. The moon's over his shoulder. The Batman logo's down the bottom. Dying is easy, you know. And I think you guys should check it out. It looks cool. I'm excited. I want to go throw them some bones and give them some dinero to possibly fund their project. I've got the burps, my goodness, or the hiccups, or some combination of the both. It's definitely that pizza I ate earlier. Holy cow. All right, so let's get into it. We have some Marvel stuff. And the Marvel stuff, guys, I'm going to start with kind of a little bit of a rant here. I don't even know if it's a rant. I don't even know how I feel about this. I posted about it. But listen, if you watch our show, if you listen to our show, if you check our show out on the different places that you can check the podcast out on, you know that last week, if you listen to last week's episode, that's JIC 327, that I said, and I quote, Giancarlo Esposito should definitely play Doctor Doom in the MCU on Sunday before this past Christmas week happened. So it was Sunday the 20th. Color me surprised when days later, all over the internet, it's starting to do this kind of steamrolling thing where it's saying that there are odds now that Giancarlo Esposito is odds-on favorite to be fucking Doctor Doom. What? Like, come on. It's very strange to me. I am just a speculator, and that's what I do. I love speculating and saying, man, these are the fan castings I would love to see, and these are some of the stories I'd like to see them tell. And if I had this cast and this story, this is kind of where I would try to drive the narrative, you know, because that's fun. That's the guessing game of this game that we love of comic movies and comic stories as a whole in all the mediums that they're in. So color me surprised when they're saying something that I suggest becomes like this thing that just like clicked with everybody. It's very strange to me. I think it is a very, very, very solid choice. Somebody said, don't you need someone younger? I don't think so. I think you don't need to be ageist and worry about Giancarlo being older. He's going to do what he's going to do, and he's going to kill it regardless. He is a phenomenal actor, and he would do a great job. Imagine him as Dr. Doom. Gus Doom Fring. Dr. Doom Fring Gus. You know what I'm trying to say. That whole energy and vibe of like that I'm a very gentle businessman, but when I need to get my fucking hands dirty, I'll slit a motherfucker's throat in front of you and have somebody else clean the mess up. And although my only demise is Hector Salamanca and that goddamn belt. Anyways, so it's really cool to see that, people are about that. I do hope it happens, especially speaking of all the Marvel shit. And let's talk about that for a minute. I figured, and this is, as I said, a shorter episode, but we have a bunch of stuff coming out. We've got WandaVision. We've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Of course, these are all coming out 2021. So we've got WandaVision in January of 2021. Falcon and the Winter Soldier in March of 2021. Morbius is also in March of 2021, which is interesting. I wonder if that'll get bumped or shifted at all. We've got Black Widow coming out in May of 2021. Loki sometime in this coming summer. We'll see when. I would say probably July, but we'll see. We've got Venom, Let There Be Carnage coming out June 25th. Shang-Chi comes out July 7th of 2021. The What If animated series from Marvel on Disney Plus comes out in fall of 2021. Eternals is November 5th of 2021. The Miss Marvel series sometime late 2021. I would assume Christmas or Christmas-ish time, especially with some of the set pictures. It just seems like that's what's going to happen. Hawkeye is going to probably be in that same time frame. It could be January of 2022, but they're anticipating it in 2021. We're definitely getting Spider-Man 3, which we're going to be talking more about here in a minute. December 17th of 2021. She-Hulk is coming out early 2022, which is going to be awesome, bringing Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and Tim Roth's Abomination in. We've got Moon Knight coming out early 2022. Oscar Isaac's possibly going to be playing the role. We haven't got that officially confirmed, but that is still the rumor. Then we got the big one, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We know Sam Raimi directing that movie. We know Scott Derrickson stepped away. He had, I don't even know what the word I would use is. He had, creative differences, but I think more Marvel was saying, hey, like, we need this movie to kind of deliver X because of what it's going to set up. And he was like, oh, man, but I had this story for this, and it was going to be more this. And they're like, but we have to do this because we're trying to world build here. And he was like, nah, man, I don't want to work with you and do that. I want to do my own thing. So, and he's actually kind of even said he likes doing smaller stuff. So good on him for, being true to himself. In May, we've got Thor, Love and Thunder, which is exciting, very much so, especially considering we're going to have members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, return of Valkyrie, Jane Foster, who's probably going to be Thor, is what we see happening for this one. Black Panther 2, which obviously has this large lingering question of Chadwick Boseman's passing. What will they do? Will Shuri take the role over? Was this always the plan? What could happen? And, there's some people that are throwing out the rumor it could be Namor being the main villain of the movie, which would be interesting because then you could actually set up his own movie out of this movie and get another hero into the universe that, again, you create this bigger and better story. So we'll have to see. July of 22 is when that one's coming out. We've also got Blade coming out October 7th, possibly of 2022. That's mainly based on a rumor, so it's just because it's so close to Halloween. It's a horror movie. It's the first time that Marvel would be releasing any of their MCU movies in the month of October, I'm pretty sure is how I've seen that written, and it just seems sensible for them to be putting that movie there. So look for that possibly in October of 2022. Captain Marvel 2 is coming out in November of 2022. We've got the Armor Wars series. It's going to be on Disney Plus, I do believe. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. But that's going to be coming out in 2022. Ironheart is going to be coming out as a Disney series in 2022. Secret Invasion's coming out in 2022 as another Disney series, a Disney Plus event series. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special will be holidays of 2022. And, of course, that's being filmed in conjunction with the Guardians 3 movie, which we will be getting Guardians 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the Fantastic Four, quite possibly in a very, very similar same time frame, maybe even in the same year, 2023. Beyond that, we've got, other movies that are rumored and stuff, and series that have been announced that we, don't have enough information on yet, but I'm really, really genuinely looking forward to everything Marvel throws at us. And actually, a lot of people are kind of saying it, and this makes a lot of sense to me, is that the rumors are that Sam Raimi played a really large role in convincing the stars who were in the Spider-Man series for him to actually return to become what is shaping up to be the live-action Spider-Verse that we're most likely going to get in Spider-Man 3 and in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I'm really excited for what's to come in the MCU, especially with when you look ahead and you see all the great things that are coming and the building blocks they're trying to put out. You can't help but have a grin and a smile and know, like, man, 2021 is going to be stacked, 2022 is going to be stacked, 2023 is going to be stacked, and that's all the stuff I just said is only in the next 3 years. So that's really mind-boggling in and of itself as well. That we're going to get this much Marvel content is really cool. It really is. And as fans, we have to be appreciative. And I'm sure we're going to get reviews, and there's going to be some series that do great, some series that flounder, some series we love, some series we hate. But I just really think that as fans, we are going to have an opportunity to really see the sandbox as they've always wanted to show us. And as technology continues to evolve and change, we're going to get to see these stories in an even more unbelievable, incredible manner. So I think maybe that's a beautiful place to leave it on today. I'm going to actually, before we officially get out of here, I like to do this sometimes because you never know. You never know what kind of all of a sudden crazy headlines are going to pop out. It actually really doesn't look like any headlines popped while we were recording this show. So I guess we're going to go ahead and do the old wrapping it up and getting on out of here. As always, folks, I want to first of all thank everybody listening and tuning in and joining us for every episode of the show. It is an honor and a pleasure and something that I hold really dear to my heart. This thing called podcasting. As I sit here today, we're only a few short weeks away for what is going to be the 7-year anniversary of this show, which is absolutely unbelievable, and I'm flabbergasted is the word. 7 years. That's crazy to me. But that goes without saying. I'm not going to sit and reminisce. We're not going to play that game today. You guys know where you can check out the podcast. If you're an audio listener, you're going to go to Apple Music, Amazon Music, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, or listen on your phone on YouTube. You can do that as well. Just search Journey into Comics Network. Journey into Comics Network. That's where you get our feed of all our awesome shows with the other shows that we have on the network. We're a little bit light right now because coronavirus is destroying everything, but hopefully soon we will all be able to record and do things in a much larger, better capacity. I'm really enjoying this video thing. It's becoming a really, really fun thing to be able to do. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if you're watching on Facebook Live, share the hell out of this. It's probably a pretty bad time to tell you to share it now that it's over, but please put it out there. We do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Journey into Comics. I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to call this episode. I have no idea, so I'm not even going to try right now. But anyways, for this episode of Journey into Comics, this has been Journey into Comics 328. I'm Nate, and as always, pop your caps back and fill your brains. Oh, you know it. Give it to me. Oh, wait. Are you ready? With shit. Later, guys.